Welcome to ToV Live. It is Valhalla time. Welcome everybody. Happy Sunday night to everybody here on the stream tonight.
Woo!
We have tonight a fun night of doing things. Well, doing a lot of things. It's mainly directed towards OG Heroscape classic stuff, and we'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's introduce ourselves. Hi, I am Ryan, Tales of Valhalla, and beside me here we got Josiah, aka Heroscaper. We have JoeCrazy, who is JoeCrazy, certainly not mind shackled at all there. And we have Jeremy, the Salem Collet, here tonight with us. Glad to see you, Jeremy. And we have special guest, first time appearing on the ToV Podcast tonight, Carl, who is Colorful Carl, right? I think link description below to his YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube. Carl, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience for a second and give a plug to whatever. I know you got things. So go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Sure, yeah. I'm Carl Cleanthus, aka Colorful Carl. I own a digital art and animation studio. We do work in gaming and entertainment and tech. We make animations and cool illustrations, a lot of stuff like that. And huge Heroscape fan. I've been buying Heroscape since like Wave 2 when it was launching, and I had it on my registry for my wedding. So I've been all about this stuff. Yeah, dude.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
Got two
I
master
gotta
sets.
try to figure that out now.
I got 2 master sets for my homies. So yeah. Anyways, and
awesome.
then I have a live art show as well. I just wrapped that up actually at 7 p.m. on Sundays, where I do digital art posthumous collaborations with my dad. So it's pretty cool. You can check that out. So
yeah, Carl, you have a really cool story with your father and how he's an artist, and you're trying to pass on that legacy. It's really cool. So really check out Carl's stream, his YouTube channel, and his business too. Very cool things that he's doing. So glad you can be on board with us for a little bit tonight, Carl.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
Glad
and
to be here.
yeah. So before we get started, let's just run down tonight what we're going to be doing. First, JoeCrazy is going to give his report on not one but 2 events that he was part of in these past few weeks, ScapeCon East, and he also got to sit down with the people from Adventure Together Games. He got to play TimeStrike and SOURCE Golf. I'm insanely jealous, but he's going to give a report on that. Then we're going to talk a little bit of Thorman's Journal, and then we are going to dive into the main segment, which is we're going to start going down the line alphabetically on some of the squads and heroes of classic Heroscape and Rapid Fire, and see how much we can do before we have to close up. So that is going to be the podcast tonight, everybody. And again, I want to give a shout out as well to all those on the audio sphere who listen via Spotify and others. That audience keeps on growing, and I appreciate all of you who like to listen to the sound of our voices and not just see our faces. Appreciate everybody who does that. Yes, absolutely. So
Indeed.
So awesome. ASMR for days.
We'll crinkle some bags next to the mic.
absolutely.
It's the Heroscape. We're going to
All of you
open packages to the
have
mic.
incredible
Some tea. I'm
patience.
sipping tea here. Hold on. That's clear comms here.
Oh my gosh.
Cheers, I guess. Oh,
Almost out of
cheers to
water.
tea or whatever we have.
Can we hear it, Joe? Can't we, that mic audio, it's not coming in, man.
Okay, Joe. Well,
Yeah, how's that for ASMR? Here you go. Perfect. Love it.
now, for those of you who are listening via the audio sphere, you're not going to be able to see this, but if you want, just check out the Tales of Hell YouTube channel. Go to the live section, and you'll be able to see this video, this stream, and what Joe is about to show, because I'm going to expand his screen. And Joe's got some things to share with us. So we're going to talk about ScapeCon East first. Want to do that first?
Yeah.
All right, let's
It's time for Joe and Tell.
It's time for
Joe and
Oh,
I love it.
oh, I like that.
Love it.
Take
Oh,
it,
I
take it,
love that.
take it.
All right, let's bring him up here.
That's branding, bro.
Stolen.
All right, so ScapeCon East. What can you tell us, sir? Because you were there.
Yeah, I'm loading all of the pictures right now onto my computer
Heck
so
yeah.
that I can hopefully showcase some of them. Yeah. Otherwise, majority of them are already on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, ScapeCon East was the very first big collaboration between the North Scapers, the Southern Scapers, majority from the Mars group, and those that go to Springfield, Mass, for those events, and anyone in between, honestly. So ScapeCon East was in my hometown, or not hometown, home state of Jersey, and we had about 28 scapers come out, and for 4 days, 3 nights, we played a bunch of Heroscape, and it was. I mean, it's nothing. Okay, nothing ever tops ScapeCon Indiana. Okay,
The main ScapeCon.
but
Yep.
ScapeCon East,
that's fair.
the main
That's
ScapeCon. But ScapeCon East was, other than the fact that it was close to home for me, was a great mixture between the two groups. The Mars group, because I travel. If you're not familiar, I travel both at least once a month. I'm traveling to either Massachusetts or Maryland. So I play with these guys. You know, I get defeated by them often, and so now they all get to come in one place to defeat me. So
all your enemies in one
all
place.
of my enemies, they all came out, and they're like, Joe, you wanna get your
It's
butt
your
beaten? Cause it's ready. We're going. We're getting ready.
The championship music starts. You know, like,
Yeah, the boss health bar shows
boss
up.
theme starts playing. Yeah.
What was it? Rick the technician. What was it? From the new Star Wars game.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, so yes, so the group of guys that ran that were absolutely fantastic. They put on a great con. I got to play 15 games and won 6 of them.
Nice.
I did not film any of them. But so there's only a number. It's only on Heroscapers, Heroscape.org is the record.
So
but-
did it happen? Is the question.
Yeah, it did. It did.
The wings.
The other special thing that I was able to do was showcase off Heroscape Adventure to Scapers for the first time.
That's awesome.
So this, like I said, like I've been playtesting the idea of ScapeCon Adventure with different types of adventures to my friends, and I've been tweaking it here and there, and just trying to get the flow. Because I'm not a dungeon master. I don't play D&D as the guy behind the chair, and so this was my chance to really do that in a Heroscape environment. And for anyone that may not be familiar with Heroscape Adventure, obviously there's a video on the channel where I kind of break down and explain it all. But the quick line of thing is, Heroscape Adventure is a story experience with Heroscape. You are playing Heroscape. At the end of the day, you are playing Heroscape. I am not changing the game. The cards are the same. Order markers, dice, like all of that is changing. Stats. The only thing that's the different experience is that you're taking one character, and you're taking that one character with 3 or 4 or whoever, how many more other players, and putting them down a story experience, giving them objectives, throwing enemies here and there, and just allowing the party to essentially go through the Heroscape map and explore, break barrels, find chests, get loot, and fight off the baddies, whoever I'm throwing out. And so the adventure I had put on was called Night of the Nids.
Nice.
Nids are...
Of course, it was Mario related.
Of course it's Mario related.
Like, man, I'm just...
Nids are a VC Morrow, VC standing for Valhalla Customs, and they're probably my favorite Morrow now. And so I made a large campaign. I played it twice. I've never played an adventure twice, more than once, with any of my friends. So this was the first time I got to do that as well, which was incredible experience because I filmed the first time I did it. So that video will come out at some point.
On JoeCrazy's YouTube channel, which you can find in the link description below as well.
Exactly.
Go follow. Go subscribe.
Yep,
Thank
do
you
it.
much. Just please,
Do
please,
it.
please subscribe.
And then I played it again the next morning, which I did not film. And both those experiences were very different. The one from the night that I did film went a little bit slower. And they progressed through the main goal a little bit longer, where the other group got through the main objective quite quickly based on some selective of powers and usage of their abilities. And so I was like, okay, well, if you guys want to keep going, I can throw more at you. And they're like, yeah, let's keep going. Because there was at least another hour or two gap for us to play. So we were like, all right, let's keep going. So I threw new stuff at them. And this is stuff that is not VC. This is my own creations. So I got to play test, brand spanking new stuff for them, which was really cool. And I told them,
Nice.
I told people ahead of time, you're gonna see stuff that is, VC related and not VC related. I'm gonna throw stuff that you've never seen before, and that was really really fun to do and to have, like I said, the wall barrier up. For some reason, a lot of these pictures. I was trying to open it up as a thing, but I did not have this prepared as easily as I thought I would. Let me see if I can just open up one here.
It's okay. I know you want more people to play Mario. We understand that part.
And I
Oh
hope
no
you-
no!
I hope you-
No, it's the exact opposite. They need to stop. They need to stop because see, everything keeps opening up with another app, and it's not opening up with another thing. So I have to set it up differently. So I will not have pictures
That's
right
fine.
now.
But again, I mean, Joe, you're gonna have all this stuff on your YouTube channel for sure.
Yeah. I'll make a video. I'll do a report of it. I'm just still trying to come back from my hiatus of jobs and stuff. So I am just trying to get back in the swing of things. So it might take a while for
sure.
the first video of mine to come out. But once that happens, then it's swinging. I'm swinging back and forth with new videos.
For sure.
You got this. I believe in you.
And
Yeah.
with Joe, I mean, the Heroscape Adventure thing, Joe already has videos out on his YouTube channel about it as well. And you
And we
plan.
got an episode of the podcast. that
Yeah,
talked
we did.
about
We talked about it on the
Listen.
podcast as well. And I think, Joe, you're going to be probably doing this again for ScapeCon 4, right? The main ScapeCon, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta talk to Orc Elf Army 1, aka Mike, about that. I also got to figure out how I'm getting stuff there because I have to fly. So I'm gonna make it happen at some point. I don't know how, but I'm going to make it happen. I will make a
You
brand
can
new
probably
adventure.
talk to the person that does the main stuff because there's someone that
Oh,
lives
to have
local
to
that
have
has
stuff out
all,
there?
Yeah. There's a
Yeah.
person that has all the local stuff, all the stuff they borrow is from a local person in Indiana. So you could probably coordinate because they have a lot of stuff.
True.
So you can definitely talk to them.
True. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
I'd work with OEAO. He'd probably know a lot more about that.
Yeah.
I'm
So
sure
yeah,
they
so
wanna
I'll have to
bring it
talk.
together.
I'll have to talk to Mike.
Gotcha.
And see, because I'd have to, like I said, I pre-build everything on Virtual Escape, have everything pre-planned. I could send him the files and say, hell yeah, you know what, we could hook you up. That's easy, Swarm of the Morrow or Dungeon or whatever. And the only thing I would be bringing would be some custom terrain because that was another thing too. I added custom terrain to the board.
Nice.
Stuff that stuff that you see on the channel, stuff with the popsicle sticks, stuff with the high ground bridges. So I wanted to be able to showcase the things that I've made customs for on the channel. So yeah, no, that was cool. Just head back to the gameplay before we go to the adventure together. My gameplay experience as of competitive gaming was incredible as well. I think the games that I lost, I think I enjoyed those more than the ones that I won. Surprisingly, because a lot of the games that I were losing, I still put up a really good fight. Like none of them were like a blowout. Maybe one of them. You know what? No, there was definitely one or two. But that's the point. The point is that I'm learning on positioning. I'm learning on my army compositions. So I feel like ScapeCon East was a really good test of my skill, so that all the practice going to the Mars, going to the Springfield, Mass. Running at these events, looking at what people are bringing. And seeing what I can work with to make my armies better, get the synergies going, get the cohesion of the army builds, and seeing who's running what. Trying to see because one of the VC events, the Varkanens, super popular with this community. And as they should. The Varks are great. I love the wolves. But yeah, the ones that I have Gray Spears, and does anyone familiar with the hero that the ranged hero?
Is it Arctos or
Arctos? Yes.
Yeah.
I
remember,
So yeah, those I have to pick up. I do not have them yet, but I have all the other Varks. But those are really good. I got to play against those quite a bit. That and of course Morrow Hounds. That's why I said it's you gotta stop. The Marden Hounds are ridiculously good. Very, very popular. So
yeah.
Stop it.
So would you say
they're mean?
From word of your Hive Lord, right? Right.
Yeah,
Joe?
yeah.
From word of your Hive Lord, stop playing the Morrow.
So Joe,
You're asking mine?
Yeah, in conclusion, would you say that for anybody who's thinking about going to a tournament or something, even if it's not ScapeCon East, but instead of saying, okay, ScapeCon 4, well, that might be a little too big, overwhelming for me at the moment since I'm just getting into this, although I'd still recommend it. But would you say that maybe a smaller venue would be a better option and then work your way up? And when it comes to particularly ScapeCon East, if you're on the East Coast and you can't really get to the center of the country, would you think that'd be a better option for people?
Okay, so if you're brand new to coming out to a Heroscape event, and you're like, oh man, I don't want to go. I'm not really that competitive. I don't want to just go and have a bad army composition and just get just get destroyed. I'm don't think that. Please do not think that. I went into the deep end. Literally what you're asking, Ryan, is the exact opposite what I'm going to recommend.
Okay.
I went to ScapeCon in Indiana as my very first event. I played 24 games and won 2 or 3.
It's a lot.
That was it. I jumped into the ocean, dived right deep, and then every single fish slapped me. Just kept going, right? So, I was drenched in competitive sweat. And so I almost welcome that as well. No matter what order you want to do and go to escape event, just jump in. Whichever pool you want to jump into, jump in. If you're on the East Coast, Mars welcomes you, Massachusetts welcomes you. If we're most likely going to be do ScapeCon East, but who knows? Nothing is set in stone yet. But ScapeCon East, jump in. Indiana, jump in if there's spots, because I know that's the hot spot. Everybody wants to go.
Right.
When's the Indiana one?
August.
August.
Okay.
Yeah. I can send you information on that, Carl.
How close to Gen Con is that?
It's
a week after.
It's a week after practice.
It's designed to where you can go to Gen Con, and then if you're staying for that week after Gen Con, you can attend ScapeCon. That's the way they've designed it. They decided that because ScapeCon is all the people that played HeroScape during Gen Con. So if that makes sense, like that's where they usually organized, and then they just kind of broke off. So until Renegade starts doing stuff at Gen Con, then we're kind of just doing ScapeCon on the side until otherwise. So,
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds awesome. I'll be checking that out.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I'd highly recommend if you have the opportunity to jump in.
I'm making my journey next year the first time, so I'm excited.
Let's go. Yeah.
I'm out in Virginia, so the
believe
East
me.
Coast one's a little closer for me, but I do go to Gen Con, so I
Oh yeah.
might make
That's a lot
that
of
work.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
According to Renegade, I'll put it out there. We're supposed to have HeroScape at Gen Con this next year, so 2024. You're going to see HeroScape in some capacity, more than just a pin and a piece of paper.
Yeah, either behind glass or on a table. I don't
Something.
know
Something.
in what
That's all we
capacity.
know. But it's going to be bigger than a pin and a piece of paper. That's important. Okay. Like,
I'm rolling my dice and saying it's
Bigger,
gonna
bigger,
be
size,
behind
bigger.
glass.
yeah. Right. Oh yeah. Are we
Bulletproof
showing off
glass.
pins? Wait.
Anytime anybody mentions a pin, I'm putting in front of the camera. So
No, it was honestly really cool though.
Yeah,
To see HeroScape merch in the year of 2023 after no merch for 13 years, it was really crazy. It was like, oh my gosh, is that an actual object associated with this game? So yeah, I get it. It's big. It's big.
So Renegade had
So-
that at the booth. Then I guess I just didn't.
Yeah, they were passing
Yeah.
out pins at the booth. Yeah,
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I missed it.
you just had to
That's
ask
terrible.
them.
It
Yeah,
was a
I was
secret
there.
Easter egg. You had to talk to the right
Dang.
people.
It'd be funny if me and you passed by and we didn't even notice. Like we were just kind of, we were just doing our own thing, and we were just like, oh hey.
That's funny. It's
I was-
possible, right? We didn't know
Right?
each
Yeah.
other then.
No. Gen Con's huge. I didn't realize
Yeah.
how big it was.
70,000, man.
There's
That
so
was
many things.
Crazy.
I was surprised it got as much as I did done, despite only having 4 hours there. I was like, this place is huge.
Dude, I was there for
Yeah.
4 days with my 11-year-old at the time. He's 12 now, but like we walked
Yeah.
like 25,000 steps every day. Like he was like
it's
Wow.
huge. It's a big place. Like, there's
inside,
so much to do.
inside. Like you, like the
That's
whole. It was
crazy.
insane. Like Gen Con is overwhelmingly massive. But
Yep.
anyway, yeah.
But anyway, Joe, anything else to say about ScapeCon East, and we can jump into Adventures Together real quick, okay?
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. I love all of the guys
Right.
that came out. They're such great. This is such a great community. Like they know it, you know. But for anyone that hasn't gone to an event, go. Like we still got Hexacon.
Just to check it out, yeah.
You know, Mid Coast, and there's events all over. Check Heroscapers.com. You could even check Heroscape.org and see what events are coming up, and then
Right.
there's links to those pages on Heroscapers.com,
Right.
so you can find out what events are near you. And please just go out, support the community. Go out, you know, play a couple games, have a good time, meet people, talk. You know, the most friendly and respectful people I've ever met.
They're
Exactly.
very, very cool people.
Exactly. Well, all right. How about then we move here? I was like, I'm going to do a switch here. Okay, I'm going to take the HeroScape banner thing down and get the TimeStrike banner because I don't have TimeStrike banner. Okay, so let's talk. Let's talk because Joe, and again, I'm insanely jealous. Joe got to meet the team from Adventure Together Games, I think just the other day. And
Warm me up. I'm gonna go get something. Hold on.
okay,
Oh.
okay.
Oh, he's
As long
got
as
some.
it's not too long of a minute, but yeah, Joe got to meet the Adventure Together team, and
Nice.
they live streamed them playing Source Golf, which is basically like skate golf, or golfing with here on like
The rules of golf, but on
hextile
the
terrain,
field of skate.
hex terrains. That I think that interests me more than anything else. But also got to play TimeStrike with the team as well, and it looked like he had a ball. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what Joe
I was
has
agreeing
here.
with him.
He's got a
for sure. I was like,
big
I want
buzz,
to
yes.
I want to switch places with you right now, Joe. That's
exactly
Nice.
exactly.
I was
So
gonna-
what do we got, Joe?
Hold on. Let me grab one more thing. Hold on.
Okay. Okay.
So many things.
Killing you, I know.
Okay, and by
It's
the
all
way,
propaganda for the hive.
by the way, and I there's links description below for Adventure Together Games, their website, their current Kickstarter, which is at 150,000 now. Yay!
Yeah,
Yay, very
they killed their
successful.
goal.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
and they got about 7 days left on their Kickstarter campaign. So,
Heck yeah.
yeah, congratulations to them. I mean, hopefully, like the next ToV podcast, we'll have them on one way or another. We'll
Yeah,
probably get them on,
I put in my order. I put in my order this morning actually.
Hmm.
I got myself the $100 tier plus SOURCE Golf, which is I feel mandatory. If you're gonna put money into this, go buy SOURCE Golf.
Yeah.
Like I like TimeStrike. I like spoiler alert. Like I like TimeStrike, but SOURCE Golf.
Yeah.
It's really genius. It really is genius.
I'd say so. Yeah.
So here's a Heroscape tile,
Right.
Okay.
and here is a high ground tile.
Okay.
A high ground tile or
Okay.
a source tile?
I'm sorry, no. Oh my god. Cancel me right now. Source tile. My apologies.
Okay.
Source tile. I had high ground on the ground.
It's
on the
just
brain.
slightly smaller.
It's slightly smaller.
Yeah.
Um,
But not that
no one's
much.
been able to do that yet. And so
Not-
I wanted
not
to
that
show
much,
people
for
that.
sure. Hey, first time here on the podcast. Yay. We're
Um,
just gonna clip this out.
yeah.
Be a 10-second clip.
yeah. So I've been able to put Heroscape characters on the source tiles, and they fit fine.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
you could, and I haven't played the game yet. I'm hoping to do that very shortly, because I have enough tiles to play a very small game. But it's doable, but I don't think you have to worry. They're not trying to make anything different. It's not going to ruin, what Heroscape is or anything
Sure.
like that. It's definitely different. The way you build with Source is very different. I'm going to be putting out some kind of review and talking about the tiles in more in depth and more broad. We'll talk about more. Once I have to run some more tests. I got to put it through the lab, run it through
Yeah.
stuff.
You gotta put your lab coat on. Get Nigok Saw's help and to not mind shackle you.
Exactly.
To,
Well, Chemo She is more the one that I
right,
need.
right. Okay.
Oh,
I gotcha,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
that's
she-
your,
the witch.
that's your
She's-
loyalty.
No, not the loyalty. It's the specialty. She's got skills that Nigok is a general. Okay, like he's a warlord. Okay, she's a war witch. She's got skills that he does not. Okay, I gotta talk to the council.
Okay, sounds good.
Right.
Fair
Just,
enough.
I mean, I get it. It's propaganda for the hive. But, like, we understand.
It's all. I mean, it is all.
Yeah.
It is all the
Yeah.
hive.
It's all
But yeah,
hive.
so I wanted to
Always
make sure I got to do that. No one's ever done that, so there it is.
That's pretty cool.
There you go.
That is cool.
Screenshot
yeah.
that, people.
But I will say it's so hard. I know my lighting stinks right now. But when you grab these tiles, there is detail in these tiles
Right.
that I would have never expected. They're really good.
I can't wait to
these
put
are
that
really
in
good tiles.
front,
Like,
in
I
front of my
really like this a
T3i. I
lot.
just can't wait. I can't wait.
So yeah, so I got my
Yeah, it seems nice. If anybody has like an ancient collection like mine, like some of the tiles just start to break eventually.
Right.
They just get
Oh no!
really
Right.
brittle.
So they actually there's a whole discussion about it. Apparently, at some point, Heroscape's plastic was not the best until I want to say 2007. At a certain point, they changed distributors. They changed like plastic production, and it made it better. So all your pieces past 2007 will last, but everything before that will crack.
Yeah, I've got a bunch
dry
of those,
rot
too.
and everything. So
Yeah.
I've been losing some pieces too. Like it's
I had-
a very frustrating
I
experience.
had a lava
just
tile
crumbled,
break
too.
on me the other day. That hurts.
Yes,
That
you're
hurts.
like, what is going on?
Oh,
Somebody
yeah,
built a
me
map
too.
by
Like Toys R
big
Us
ol'
isn't even here.
sacrifice.
Like, there's no way to find that. Like
I got the sparkly water tiles that like super retro.
Oh my
from the
gosh.
First edition.
Just frame
yeah,
them.
first edition sparkle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Frame-
I've got
just frame them.
red dice and
Shrink
blue
wrap them.
dice. You know?
Shrink wrap
Heck
them
yeah.
and frame them.
Yeah.
So they're just on a wall. They're art.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
source
here's
files,
the-
they have a
here's
picture
the
of
edges.
They're like 2-year-old kids standing on like
Edges.
a built structure of it.
Edges. I can't wait for these
This
things.
is yeah.
So
This
that's
is
like the framing of the whole thing, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
this makes them fit together. This
Now,
is
can
the
you pick up
smallest
the board and
combination.
move it?
Yeah,
Or no?
and-
No, not really. Yeah, no. Like even I'm
No.
having a hard time holding this in two hands.
Okay.
Here, let me put it on my light.
But I mean,
was
you could
doing,
put
like, mood
dice,
lighting. I'm
on those. They'll end up with attachments for those like inner knobs to add like just whatever cup holders, like dice towers,
Oh, cool.
whatever. So I call them like a lot of the group from Venture Together, they're engineers on one form or another. So they when the engineering mind, they break things down and they make things work effectively. So that's one thing that sells me on it. I'm so jealous, Joe.
So these small notches you can put your D20s in. They fit really nice. You can
really
this
cool.
little gap. You can put all your dice and whatever pits, whatever anything, wound tokens, whatever you want to put there. Any kind of markers, they just fit right in there. And then all the tiles will just kind of like fit together. Right in. It just squeezes in.
Nice.
And everything's held in place.
And
it works.
How does it
very
feel?
efficient.
How do they feel like compared to like Heroscape terrain? Like what is their texture? How does that feel? I mean, I know these are just these aren't going to be the main stuff coming out next year, but
right.
Let's just hope that whatever Renegade is working on, or at least let's just say even what Avalon was planning on doing with the Heroscape tile, with when they were talking about the different tooling and they're changing up the material, making it more modern. I hope it's this.
Right.
Because
Good,
this is
better
super
material,
durable.
for sure.
Nice.
It feels so like I know it's a little bit smaller, and that could be part of it. But like this feels really nice. Like I really like these tiles. Just because like even when they slot in, like here comes that ASMR again.
And
Here's another one. Hold on.
I want to give a quick shout out to Arable. Hi there, Arable, on the chat, commenting all the way from Germany.
Awesome.
Hello. Welcome.
Like they're not twisting apart. Like I just put them together, and they're not twisting apart.
Nice.
So now I feel like I need to leave again to get another Heroscape tile and do the same thing. We'll go in depth with it later. But yeah, no, they feel really nice. Being able to go into a little bit of TimeStrike. There are times during TimeStrike where the units can destroy the board. We built a giant map. If you haven't seen the 4-hour stream from Saturday, that's on Adventure Together Games YouTube channel.
Yep. Link in description below. Should be
Fear.
Nice.
Fear is a unit, okay, and Fear is like a boss. It's this huge base thing that characters can hop onto to control it, and it when at the end of like the round of an initiative, you can move it, and when you move it, it has to be on a smooth surface. So if you want to put it on an area that has a few tiles, then you get to take those right off the board and plow them down.
Okay.
And so there's times where an entire section of the board is being destroyed because you want to put them on a specific set of tiles. And I remember I was like, oh, I'm a little thirsty. I'm gonna go, walk over to the other side and get a drink. And I came back and I'm like, where's the map? What'd you guys do? What happened? What is this? And they're like, oh yeah, and they explained it, and I was like, what? That's wild. Like on the fly. And like, granted, like you can't do that with Heroscape. You just can't.
No. You gotta take your time taking things apart, put them back together.
Yep. And that's obviously for good reason, because games. Heroscape doesn't do that. There's no mechanic where people are destroying the map in that type of way.
Because it makes TimeStrike kind of fun,
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's
makes
a huge difference, and there are a lot of differences from TimeStrike and Heroscape, even though they do look very similar. But you have to realize too that there's so many other tabletop games out there. Are they all using hex-based terrain? No. So that's where people are like, oh, this has got to be like Heroscape,
Right.
And it isn't. It really isn't. Because even like teasing a little bit with like how characters move, which was something that I thought would be very similar, and it isn't. it isn't, and it is. So if a character wanted to move, I have the through track here. If a character wanted to move, in Heroscape, they'd count, the side of a tile on top. That's 2, 3, 4, right? Everybody's familiar with that. In TimeStrike, if someone wanted to move, if it would be more like, this is the better example here. Here's a groove. Okay. So if a character really wanted to move up, for example, like through here, it's like, okay, here's, the side of the tile is 1. That counts as 1. So it's 1, 2. They don't count the sides. They do count the sides, but if the count the side is 1, it only counts for 1. But if the count of the side is for 2, see, I kind of built a little bit of this over here.
Sure.
So now you're counting 1, 2 because it's 2, and then 3, 4 because there's 2 tiles in between.
So it's just a little bit different.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Okay.
But then there's row tiles. Now you could, for example, take stuff off the board.
I saw this.
Like you could grant it. You could say, okay, this tile, which this is a road tile that they gave me, but let's say that's a resource tile. You could walk over. I'm gonna pick this tile up. Now I have this. I put it on the card, and now later on in the game, I could walk over and be like, okay, I'm exchanging my resource tile to build a road, and you can then take a bunch of tiles and essentially then just put one underneath yourself and then build a road with how many resource tiles. And then how road works is essentially, as long as you get on the road, for one movement, you can go from one end of the road to however long around the road and stop. And that's one road. That's one movement.
Okay. Huh.
So it's super quick. And the reason for that is that the maps can be massive.
Right.
Massive. So they want movement to be really easy, but you have to build it.
Yeah, to get across stuff.
Right.
Okay.
You have to build it. So that's where like I think the balance of the road is. You have to build it.
It's like a mix between D&D, a Heroscape, and Minecraft.
I was almost gonna say because I know they're gonna be releasing some of the massive rules, and I don't want to explain everything on how the game is played.
Sure.
But
We don't have all night.
it is
so
a
yes.
combination. Right. Yeah. But I will say, if anyone's familiar with like Pandemic.
Okay. Yeah. I know the basics.
The
of that,
game.
Yeah.
Okay. Where there's these like contagion cards or whatever. Like every couple of cards, when you're drawing to pick up cards, you'll encounter a quarantine or whatever card, and then it's like read the rules, and it's the game kind of like just messing you up. Like this is gonna like ruin your day type of card. And those type of cards show up. Where the giant boss Fear essentially kind of like messes up the board, starts attacking everybody. And so like it's literally like the game attacking you, which is a lot of fun. Very, very fun. Very different. So yeah, overall TimeStrike, a lot of fun.
Nice.
I think that's where I'm like, yeah, I definitely have to have this in my collection of games. I think playing with my game group would be a lot of fun with this. You can take multiple units as your army or team. But we played with the first time I guess live was a 6-player game. We each took one unit, and one unit could be 3 worm characters. It could be 2 firebird characters. And you could add people to your team. There's monsters on the board that you can tame to get on your team, and you can play as them as well. So there's a lot of like this character building moments. It does have that same story element that Heroscape does.
Yeah, progressive growth kind of thing.
It has that, but I'm just saying like that story man. I'm like, oh, do you remember that moment where Grimnack walked over and chomped on everybody? Oh yeah, that was so great. And then TimeStrike is like, oh, remember that time when Fear just completely crushed the board? Like, oh yeah, that was a great moment. I love that.
That's awesome.
So it has that same, mentality, and you can build, your imagination with the game. As soon as you can be like, oh, when that character did that and this character does that, and it's like, oh, you did this because I don't like what you did there, so I'm gonna do this to make you mad. Like you can
Nice.
do that kind of stuff. You can play around with your friends. It is a blast, an absolute blast, and it was pretty easy to pick up. It is pretty easy to pick up. I know. My girlfriend Jill was watching the stream, and she's like, "Oh, it looks too complicated. I don't know if I'm gonna play this or not." And you're like, Jill, honestly, like you're gonna like this a little bit. It looks complicated looking out, but when you're in the moment, and you're
You pick
picking
it
up
up
the
quick.
character, you pick it up.
Okay.
And for any Heroscaper that is incredibly interested in this, you're gonna pick it up. It's gonna be pretty easy. To follow along. So it is an absolute blast. But on the other hand, SOURCE Golf, honestly, to me is the highlight. just because you're like, here, do you want to play golf the game?
That's funny.
And like
Yeah.
for anyone that's a map builder, that loves building maps, Ryan,
Can
right?
you,
You like
can,
building
can
big.
you imagine just the type of maps you can build, just like an 18-hole course, that'd be all
Yeah.
over your house.
Yeah. If you're
crazy.
paying the big bucks to get all of the terrain, yeah, you're getting 18 holes, like my guy. Like you're making it. Like
They
you're
need to
making
do
funny.
it. They need to do a tournament someday with that. Just SOURCE Golf.
Dude, honestly, that would
Yeah.
the PGA Tour of
Boom.
skate golf. I mean,
That's
SOURCE
crazy.
Golf. SOURCE Golf.
Yeah.
Is like phenomenal. It'd be so great. It's like I said, I want to go through like all the entire rule set, but it's so interesting, so easy to play. And as they were explaining it to me, it was just like that makes so much sense. I love that. There's these like little golf pips, okay, and they actually have the little like air holes, like a golf ball does on the little icon.
Mm.
You guys know what a golf ball has? It has all
Right,
the little,
right,
the
yeah.
divots.
Divot.
Yeah.
It's got that on the golf, ball. Like the small thing that they have that you use as your ball to move around the board. It has those divots. Which is like
That's
such a
pretty
like
cool.
they didn't have to do that. I don't feel like they needed to do that, but like they could.
It's
Um,
attention to detail, I think.
It's authentic.
At least,
Yeah.
the authentic.
Yeah.
hmm
Um,
That's
but
awesome.
I know. As soon as I got home yesterday, I set up a map and I had some family over, and they were like, "Hey, I gotta teach you how to play this. We're gonna play this right now."
Nice.
So I took some Heroscape pips and used them as golf balls, and I took a Brandar glyph, and I took a bunch of tiles.
Classic Brandar.
And made like a little hole, and then put Brandar in the center there. It's like, all right, that's where you have to go. That's where we're shooting the ball.
Hell yeah.
And because I don't have like that massive amount of tiles yet, I was trying to come up rules for like mini golf.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm playing around with that idea too.
It reminds
so-
me of that. I don't know. This is probably gonna like show off my age, but whatever. It's like a CD-ROM game. It was like Crazy Golf, but it was like crazy golf. Like there's like tornadoes and stuff going on while you were trying
yeah.
to play. I can't remember the
That'd
name
be
of the
fun.
game. It's something like sim related. But I feel like you could do something like that with SOURCE Golf. It's
Oh,
like,
for
oh, there's
sure.
a tornado on the field. Yo, good luck. Try to get that ball in the hole.
Yeah,
It's like,
I mean, yeah, I think you definitely could do that. I mean, there are
That's
different
pretty cool.
rules for specific tiles.
yeah.
Like if you land on like a road tile, the ball like skips, like lily pads, like it just skips, and that's because when you bounce a ball on pavement, it flies.
Right.
So like it has that same type of mechanic where it just bounces, and like if you aim right, you could essentially, if you set the map up this way, to challenge your players to skip the ball all the way to the hole.
Not bad.
So it's like they even have like traveling with the ball, like trees. You can hit a tree. You can either the tree will stop you, or you can go through the tree. You can get
Right.
water. You can put your ball into sand, and it's gonna be a lot harder to get out of the sand. So like there's like little rules like that. It's like, oh, that is Chef's kiss. That's
Nice.
perfect.
That's pretty cool.
Love it.
Nice.
So yeah, Source Golf is to me an absolute highlight. I enjoyed that. Like, I'm a simple man. You got it doesn't take a lot, but like that beat it all for me. I feel terrible like admitting that because I feel like the big thing is obviously the source tiles, and then you have TimeStrike. But what really surprised me was Source Golf. So
I think it just shows, like, if anything, it shows like a genuine like ability to like meld, if that makes sense. Like it's like something you can use for multiple things, and that's what's important about the tiles. It's like when you're making this purchase, if you're supporting this Kickstarter, which you should. But if you're supporting this Kickstarter, like what are you going to support the Kickstarter for? You know, like what is this going to do for you? That's why you want to support this Kickstarter, something that helps you out. And if it's something like golf, I mean that alone will tell you, yeah, this is useful because it'll be able to modify to multiple needs, right? Depending on your game.
Yeah, it does. It does a lot more, and they're going to be making more
really
games on Source. So it's not like if you get Source, it's only used for TimeStrike.
Right, there's multiple plans for the game.
Like I'm telling you, like if you wanted to, yes, you could play Heroscape on it. You can play Source Golf. You can play BattleTech. You can play D&D.
The preview,
You know, you can go play whatever other games you want on it. Like Source is its
why it's
own,
called the Source system.
It's a source system. It's also open source.
Yep.
So other people can make
add
games, you know, and use Source as its main component.
And we got
is ingenious.
We got Justin asking something. Hey, Justin, there in the chat, asking, how does lava affect your ball? Or was that brought up at all?
Do they have lava rules for
Great
golf?
Question. Great question. So that's what because I asked that. It's actually on the stream. So it was the first thing we did on the 4-hour stream. So you don't have to watch too long. You can skip right to that. There was lava on the field for Source Golf. I said there's lava on the field. So what happens when the ball is? It just destroy the ball? And he's like, yeah, you probably could do that, but we're using it for water right now. And I said, all right,
okay.
that's fine. So we didn't play with lava rules. And that opened my mind where it was like, okay, well, if before the game starts, if we're determining what the tiles do, it opens the door for your imagination to say, okay, well now, you know, because there's a lot of different tiles in Source, and they're gonna be coming out with way more. So if you're going through the different biomes and you're like, oh, I like those tiles, like that tile, what can I use for this, what for that? There are not rules for every tile yet. So you can come up with new rules for the tiles. You know, so you're like, all right, I want to play with lava, it destroys you. And you could literally make your hole somewhere and then surround it with lava, and where it challenges you to be like, okay, you need to get it in this area, and like otherwise you're out of the game.
Nice. Okay.
You're not achieving that ball back.
So it's like it's infinitely customizable kind of. Experience.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah, I like that they built this whole system and that they're encouraging other people to develop games on it. And
right. Open source thing is a big deal.
Yeah, and the weird, like, nuanced creativity that's going to come out of somebody else just looking at this freshly with a new approach is probably going to be pretty exciting. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Saturday I got to see tiles that are not even being offered in the Kickstarter yet, and it's as simple as wood tiles, you know, like tiles with like wood paneling on it. And I'm like, bro, what biome's this from? Like, I want to grab a bunch of these. And he's like, oh yeah, those aren't available yet. I'm like, bro, that's be awesome. I can't wait. Like,
they got a lot of plans.
So they got plans for the future.
Yeah, they got a lot of future plans.
That's tavern floor, and then we'll have basements. And,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, because like one of the questions they were talking about, like they were like, okay, well we could do it as the tile itself, or we can make it like the thin tile, like the water, and we haven't decided if they wanted to build on it or not. Like allow people to build on it, because like the water tiles, you know, are kind of hard to like. You could stack them really, but like, you know, do you want to put something on water? You know, like it's They could
Yeah.
either way. They could make it either thin or the thick tile.
In the
and
rule
they have
book,
it
it
Right.
says like you're not supposed to put anything on a lava or a water tile, like,
Right.
or ice or whatever, right? So
Yeah. So yeah, it all depends. But yeah, there's some the detail. Like there's like a koi pond,
nice.
like with little
Oh, that's
fish.
really cool.
Even like some of the water, like the actual like water tiles, like they have like dolphins or something in it. And like looking at the two tiles, I'm like, are those shadows or scratches? Like what's on there? It's like no, there's like fish. I'm like,
So you can
oh,
go
cool.
fishing.
Pretty
Like
cool.
it was such a hard thing. Yeah, because fishing is part of TimeStrike. Like you could fish in the game, so like you don't have to fish at the actual fishing one. But I guess if you wanted to make it harder, you could build the map with only the ones you can have fish in it are the ones that you're allowed to fish in.
Nice.
Or it makes it easier
do
for you
a
to fish.
source
I don't
fishing
know.
tournament
Right.
too. You know, source.
You could,
Oh my God.
if you wanted to make a fishing game, you probably could. Yeah.
Yeah, just
That's amazing.
If you wanted to make GTA 7 in Source, I'm sure you could. Because
Why not?
absolutely.
Time to
the
get
options
started.
are there.
All right.
That's pretty cool. They have like cities and buildings and stuff. Are they working on that? or-
Not yet. They're right now. I think there's walls. They're like
Okay.
like small like
Nice.
brick walls, and then there's looks like there was like these wooden plank walls, but I didn't know what. No one explained what they did. But there
Okay.
really isn't any like the only other cover they have are like trees, that are pretty small. But like nothing massive yet. Like you pretty much for like anything that's breaking like line of sight, you're pretty much like stacking tiles. So you're just stacking tiles really tall, and making mountains and stuff.
Did anyone ever use the this is a random thought, like the wall from the Marvel set that was like breakable? Like I never used it. I just like set it aside.
Oh yeah, they actually
Oh,
use
yeah.
it for tournament maps. They
Mhm.
showed
They
that
take the
off
walk
at
off part
ScapeCon.
usually, but
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
They used that at ScapeCon a little bit.
I just made a video where I repainted it, and I was like, you know what? You may not use this because it has weird rule sets, but you can at least make it look a little bit better.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
I think
that
they
was a
should
pretty
be able to
creative
break the
idea.
wall mid competitive match. That'd be way cool.
Yeah.
That could change a lot of things too, like last
Especially for
minute
like
too.
if you're doing like a monster mash.
right.
You should have a map like you should have more map specific for events, so you can use those rules.
For sure.
I think that'd be
I
neat.
like it. I like it.
All right. Well,
But,
anything else
yeah.
to talk about you're dealing with? Because I know Carl's got to leave in a few minutes. But anything else you want to say, Joe, about meeting these guys? You know, Adventure Together games.
Yeah, they're
Sure
so
was-
nice. They're so nice. They're so humble. You know, great group of people. Chris, Tony, Nick, Bob, his wife, Bob's wife's Amanda. Which Bob was on all of them except for Amanda were on the podcast.
Yeah.
At some point, and you know, I got to meet all of them, and they were just awesome people. Just so
Nice.
great group of guys. You know, I'm looking forward to meeting up with them again, doing game night, and just kind of like chilling out. Like we weren't sure like what we were gonna do. Like I thought it was gonna be more of a chill night. I wasn't expecting to stream for 4 hours, but we did, and it was great. I had a blast. But we're hoping maybe next time we'll just be more lax. We'll play Source Golf, play TimeStrike, in a bit more of a casual experience, you know, and shoot the shit and just like, you know, talk. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, like they're a group, they were awesome. You know, such good people. Like they really know tabletop gaming.
That's good.
For sure.
So,
Yeah.
like,
Gotta know your audience.
yeah, like they get it, you know, like they understand, like when they're building games, they're building it for a specific audience, and like they know that audience, you know, and that because it's like I you know, like I said, walking in and like learning Source Golf, I was like sold immediately, and it's like this is genius. This is generally really genius. You know, that's great. That's great. It's fun. It's great. You know, it's good. You know, Source Golf.
It's the
I
start.
think it's hilarious. I think it's
the-
hilarious.
It's the
So
start.
it's like
No, it's
at
pretty
that
funny.
at that mindset though, like they really know it. They get it. They're really good at this stuff. So
Nice.
I really wish them the best of luck to the end of their campaign. you know,
Yeah,
it's
'cause they're,
like
they're just hitting stretch goals now, aren't they? Like they
yeah,
always
they're hitting stretch goals. And some of those stretch goals
great.
are really, really nice.
Yeah.
You know, this is definitely not, you know, I mean, I guess, yeah, it's great.
There'll be a lot more things
That's
to say,
good.
I'm sure, in the coming weeks and the coming years, too. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not
Yeah.
going
I don't.
down
I don't think
practice.
this is going anywhere. This is.
No.
This is good. This is good stuff.
Definitely.
Absolutely. All right. How about then we shrink Joe down to size? So get him off the platform here. Okay.
I was big this entire
Your time is
time.
over. Yes, you were. Yes.
Hold
Oh
on.
my God.
Okay. Wait.
Find the
brain,
stuff.
it was
Everyone
too
saw
big.
every detail.
Your thing's loading here. Hold on a second. Okay. Let me try and get back.
It was the perfect time to propaganda the hive. man.
Okay, Joe, you might
had
have
it
to
right there.
log out and log back in because I'm just seeing kind of like a what is it, processing or whatever, loading type thing going on. But I am going to bid Carl adieu and give him a gracious
Thanks for
exit.
joining us.
Yes, Carl, thank you so much
man.
for joining us, and hopefully, definitely in the coming weeks into next year and beyond, hopefully you can join us again. Love having discussion with you on these things, and I will say this: me and Carl just met up. It's been like a month and a half. And for those of you who know about my stop motion animation, and I mean even with the podcast and things to do with Heroscape, there could be opportunities to work with Carl in the future. So definitely look forward to talking with them and discussing things on that in the future. And to you, the audience out there, there's just some fun things that are starting to happen that can mean a lot to the Tales of Valhalla channel, as well as
Totally.
the other people surrounding me here and now. So yeah, definitely keep your ears open because you never know what's going to happen in the future. But Carl, please give your thoughts, and again plug your channel, your business to those out there. And again, link description below if anybody wants to find out about you, and we'll allow you to exit, sir.
Cool. Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. Sorry I didn't get to chat too much. I just excited to take it in. I haven't been on the podcast yet or had a chance to listen to it, so I didn't really know what to expect. But I'll have more news and cool things to share with you guys. I'm under NDA on a couple cool ideas that you guys will love, I'm sure. So yeah, I'll come back sometime in the future, and if you guys want to check out anything I'm up to, you can just go to colorfulcarl.com, and it connects to Epic Made and my podcast and all the other stuff I do, and my live stream and all the things. So happy to help anybody. Reach out if you need anything, and thank you guys for having me. Have a good night.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you,
check out
sir.
your channel.
Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
the
Thanks for
artwork
coming.
on there is really, really incredible.
it
It's
is.
blown
It
away
is
the
good.
using color and all that
good.
stuff. So I'm going to be looking more into that later for you.
Oh, I appreciate that so much. All right, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Take it
See
easy.
ya.
All right,
Yeah.
be good.
Thanks for
Later,
joining.
sir. All right. Oh, and one thing I mentioned too about Carl is that he does do a lot of graphic design. So, and that's one thing. He didn't explain it, although you can see it through his channel. But one thing he did, his dad was an artist, and so his dad has literally like thousands of like drawings and paintings of things that he did throughout his life. And Carl's promise to his dad on his dad's deathbed was that I'm going to make sure people can see this, and that this stuff can just be out there in the world for eternity, practically. And so that's what he's kind of doing for his dad, which I consider very, very honorable thing. And his dad, I think, is a brilliant artist. I've seen some of the work that Carl has like digitized and does his own additions to it. And yeah, so definitely check out his stream on just things that he does usually every Sunday night. So go ahead and check him out and appreciate him. Yeah, and hopefully he can come up on more in the future. So now, since we are an hour to the stream, and what should have taken 20 minutes, Joe, took almost an hour.
I told you that time is a lie. All of the times are a lie on that schedule.
I know.
We
So
all know that's how this works.
it's how it works.
It's
we aim for an hour and a half, and we go
the piratical term.
we go like
It's not,
3
it's
hours.
Not, it's less rules, more of guidelines. You know?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, it's
Right.
a suggestion.
it's a
And
suggestion.
It's like the age on a
Thanks.
Lego box.
And Carl's commenting in a second. Thanks, Carl. Yeah, Carl's commenting on the chat there for a second. Yeah, and you have a good night too, sir. We'll definitely chat with you in the future.
Appreciate you.
But so that being said, I am going here. Wait, let me get TimeStrike off here and get back on the Heroscape logo there. We are going to Axe Thorman's journal for now, and me and Joe are already talking about like for next year. Changing the format for things a little bit. So things might be a little bit different, but still the same ToV podcast into next year. And also, I am setting up a Patreon. So either the next few podcasts, I might announce that, but at the very least, like beginning of next year, I'll get that announced for anybody who wants to help just grow this podcast, grow this channel. There will be opportunity to do that, and for extra things that we're planning on putting out as well. So that is definitely a thing. But since we're, I want to keep us on a time limit tonight. We're going to Axe Thorman's journal and slate that for later, and we're just going to hop right into looking at these squads and heroes a little bit and see how much we can brush out in like 40 minutes to an hour. We'll see. But yes, let's get to the first one then. Here, let me get this up here. So first squad we're going to be looking at tonight is Blastotrons. And
I can easily talk an hour about the Blastotrons.
Well, Jeremy,
that's easy.
How about we let you read through the card? All right.
Heck yeah.
Do that. Yeah.
All right. Let's grab that. Get that data for you.
Mm-hmm. I love these guys.
All right. So we got the Blastotrons. Just for, I mean, I don't know if it's like a big old secret because I've already been to I've been to 2 ScapeCons, and for most ScapeCons I do run this composition, the Blastotrons Gladiatrons combo. I find them to be very, very versatile, and as you can look at the card, as you're looking at the card right now, you can kind of tell, right? So you got, they're from Vidar, and then you got it's the Gladiatron movement bonding, right, which is the first ability they have. Let me see, I gotta pull that up, make it bigger. Where's the one? Come on. Oh, I don't have a big picture. Why don't I not have a big picture? I'll just hold up. I gotcha. All right, so Gladiatron movement bonding is that before you taking a turn with the Blastotrons, you may move 4 Gladiatrons you control up to 5 spaces each. So this is a really, really nice ability that allows you to mobilize really quickly, right? Most of the times when you're running a Blastotron Gladiatron army, you're going to activate the Blastotrons first, or at least 2 turns within the round, right? Because you're moving the Gladiatrons as much as possible because you want them to take advantage of their Cyberclaw, right? So for those that don't know what Cyberclaw is, we're kind of jumping ahead because this is going to be a unit that we'll
talk about later.
Yeah. Section.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to come up later, and you're going to be like, oh, hey, we talked about this. Yeah. But yeah, so the Gladiatrons have an ability called Cyberclaw, and so Cyberclaw removes the ability of movement entirely. Like if anything is within proximity of Cyberclaw, they lose their movement. Movement goes down to 0 essentially, and they are stuck. And it's a really, really nice ability that can be used for all sorts of things. I mean, keeping flyers down, keeping ranged in a locked location if you're quick enough. I mean, there's so many ways it's a very, very unique and very decent combo that I've seen take advantage of a lot of situations. So I find it to be a lot of really fun combo and one of my favorite combos thus far. But yeah, so Gladiatron movement bonding. Before you take a turn with the squad, you take a turn with another squad. And that's another thing. You're moving 8 characters a turn, which is pretty
9, or is it?
Think about
no, it's 8. It's 8. You're right. It's 8. Yep.
Yeah, because it's 4 Blastotrons, 4 Gladiatrons per turn.
I had the 4 and the 5 mixed up there on the card.
No, you're good, but it's pretty decent, and I mean you can clear a board like within 2 turns at least. You'll be halfway across the board with that portion of your army, and of course I'm the one figuring this out super late, but the more commons you have, the better. So
right,
like I tend to roll. I think my preference is like 2 of each, and then like major Q or X17. But a lot of people don't even play that; they just play full squad. It'll be like three blasts, 3 glads because of this combo. It's a really solid combo. And then of course the additional part of the combo that makes it even better. It's called homing device, and that is when attacking a non-adjacent figure, add 1 attack die for every Soulborg who follows Vidar that is adjacent to the defending figure. So what that means is when you move your gladiatrons, you move 4 characters forward. If you manage to surround somebody with all 4 of those characters, and the thing is, I've never activated homing device on 4 characters. I've never gotten that lucky, but at least with 2, you get 2 gladiatrons to lock on the character, and you use foaming device. You're rolling 3 plus, and if you get the blastotrons on height, that's an attack of 4 automatically, and it just keeps going up. It just keeps going up, and it's just like it is absolutely some of the craziest things I've been able to pull some crazy moves with the homing device, because it's like you just move glads, you move the glass, you get them surrounded, you get the 4, right, and then you use homing device, right, attack of 5 or even more depending on how many you have in the area. It is really, really cool. But they are squishy, 1 life, of course, defense 2, right. Initially they have an attack of 1, but I've never let that stop me. If I'm not able to activate homing device, I still try to get my attacks in and then get my movements in. There are times that I've used blastotrons themselves as part of the homing device, where I'll move a couple forward and then use them for the homing device bonus, and then take the shots later. So, because that's the thing, right? You can move before you attack, so you can move some blastotrons forward if it's easier that way, right? And yeah, it's just, I think and this is just my personal preference, obviously, but out of all the characters and all the teams I've used in Heroscape, this have been some of the most versatile, most like dynamic armies I've seen. Is the Glad Blast combo, and of course, it increasing in opportunity because we have a new Soulborg for Vidar that's going to be joining in eventually next year, and that is the Admiral. So if you end up getting an Admiral that's surrounded, start popping off his homing devices and see if you can clear the squad that's taking him out, things like that. So many options, and that goes for any
Scape. Who's looking forward to official Scape coming out? My gosh.
We get to talk about new waves coming out.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Revelation and
it's going crazy. It's going crazy. But yeah, and then of course other data on the card. We got their guards, so they get a bonus from Warden X. The Warden. The Warden has a movement bonus for all guards, Soulborg guards specifically. And then we have Discipline, so they can join a disciplined army if you want to try to do some sort of multi option combo with some of Einar's units that get bonuses from disciplined armies.
You also get
lots of options.
Deathwalker range bonus, as well as Lagalore range enhancement. You can get these guys up to 11 range. These guys are really crazy, and they have a lot of immunities and a lot of
fun
power. If you let them cook, if you're patient and you let them cook, don't engage them.
And I've won some games with them at ScapeCon. I've won some games with them at ScapeCon. So
6 attacks a turn on them if you surround your opponent. It's crazy.
They're really, really cool. One of my favorite compositions thus far.
What are the financial costs for these? Are they relatively
60 points each?
No.
I would say a little bit
financial,
monetary.
They're cheaper than the Gladiatrons.
Cheapers, because Blastotrons actually got they were selected for Wave 10 as a second reprint. So if you're familiar with the Valkyrie's Gambit, right? There was the heroes, which were all the characters from Gen Con reprinted, right? And then they did the Vipers, right? They had that set with the Vipers, and then there was the Quasatch and the Guardians. After that, they released, I want to say it was the Ashra and the Blastotrons, and then it was another set that came out, and it was a reprint of commons for people that didn't get a chance to get it when Thor's Vengeance was active. So it's like, you can get yourself a good solid amount of Blastotrons even now, because essentially Blastotrons have been part of 2 waves of classic Heroscape. So there's a lot more of them out there than of the other armies. Because of that. They got the chance to be printed twice.
$30 on average.
Yep. They got printed twice in the OG sets, and then so their models are everywhere. You can get them pretty easily. Gladiatrons are a lot harder because they only came out in Xanafor's Discovery,
right.
And I want to say everything pre Wave 5 has been like really difficult to get on its own, aside from Wave 1, because Wave 1 got reprinted. Yeah, Wave 1 got reprinted, and then Wave 10 was like a mishmash of multiple things that got reprinted. So it was Blastotrons was part of that, and I can understand why. I mean, it was a really solid army comp, especially for those that like Soulborg. If you really want to get into the Soulborg aesthetic, Blastotrons is where it starts. Like they are the foot soldiers of that entire concept, and they're pretty good. So, and then stats wise, they got 5 moves, so they move pretty quickly. Range of 7. You can start taking shots like turn 1 if you're really careful. If you know how you move your stuff, you move your stuff right, you can get shots in pretty quick. And then it's the attack and defense don't really help unless you're. I tend to put my Blastotrons on height as soon as I possibly can
Makes
to
sense.
give me that bonus, because
For sure.
it's a 2/3 when you get them on height instead of a 1/2, and the 1/2 means everything. Like if you get attacked at a normal but without the bonus, it does hurt. They die really quick,
And
I've noticed. But
and I mean in
That's pro- you know, they
tournament
always have a
play, the range of 7 spaces pretty much covers the whole board. In tournament.
like I mean you're moving. You're starting your attacks within turn 2. If you out on average, you're already attacking by turn 2, but turn 1, if you're careful enough, you can already start attacking.
Right.
It's just a matter of moving your stuff in the right place. Yeah,
And,
good stuff. I mean, I've always been a fan of the Blastotrons.
Right, and the point
And that's not
value is
because of
good
voice
too.
actor.
The point value is too.
No bias here. So.
It's 15 points per miniature, right?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, I'm doing the
pretty,
math.
Pretty average. Pretty
bad.
good, solid cost point, I think.
Yeah, there's not a lot of armies that are kind of pre-comped built together. Like you can't talk about the Blastotrons without talking about the Gladiatrons. Like
they're like Gladiatron, and the thing is, like Gladiatrons came out a wave before, right? So we're talking about like 3 months of like people trying to figure out how to use the Gladiatrons. It was like none of this makes like they don't work very well on their own. And then the Blastotrons came out, and then Gladiatron play like exploded. Like they were like this. They were made for this army. Like it was entirely designed for this one purpose. So, which is really funny to think about.
That makes them special, and it shows the I mean the intricacies of Heroscape and how armies
the various
can
ways
bond
you
with
can
each
play
other.
the game.
Exactly.
Yep.
How about we get into the character bio? Yeah, well, go ahead. You got a question?
Oh, this is even. I love the character bio. Like this is even better.
I was just saying these are probably my least favorite characters to paint, just because of the emblems on the shoulder pads. We're gonna do that accurate. There's some stickers online, but sticker work is hard too. So these are they're doable, but if you want finely detailed armor, it's
good luck.
All right, let's dive into the lore of these guys then. Character bio. Do you want to read the character bio too, Jeremy? You can go ahead.
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, go ahead.
Gotcha. So I will say precursor for anyone of the lore enthusiasts, because I have noticed. I will say this. I have noticed there's been an increased desire to learn the lore of Heroscape. I've noticed in the Renegade Discord a lot of questions about it and things like that. So I'm going to point this out, like my preface of mentioning this bio. If you want to know anything about the Solborg, Alpha Prime, and anything about that lore, this is where we got it from. The Blastotron's bio is probably one of the most comprehensive, like, written material pre Valhalla, pre-information that we've ever received about a planet than I've seen in any other bio thus far and hence. Like, this is some of the most comprehensive stuff we've gotten from the dev team about their story. Specifics, like seriously, like just kind of going over in my head that I know, it's like this is probably one of the most deepest bios we got, like in terms of information. And so for anyone out there that's a lore enthusiast, has been really excited about the Heroscape lore, and especially what the changes will be coming up in the future, if you want to know about Alpha Prime, highly recommend the read of the Blastotrons and just kind of like get that vibe down, because that's where it's all at. It's like that's the aesthetic is in this bio specifically. So really good stuff. And with that, let me go ahead and read it. Alpha Prime is now the war-torn husk of the glorious world that it used to be. In a time now lost to history, a brilliant race thrived there. The planet was then called Meridian. With technology, the Meridians ended crime. With technology, they ended hunger. And with technology, they ended war. Life was good. Hard labor was performed by the Robota, complex machines designed to perform arduous tasks. It was one grief-stricken scientist who, after losing a child to a fatal accident, changed that beautiful world's history forever. In an effort to save the child from death, he twisted science to preserve the soul of his child in the metal encasings of a robota. Thus, the Soulborgs were born. 3 millennia pass, and now the Soulborg rule the planet, fighting amongst themselves in a constant state of war. Meridians still exist, mostly as slaves on the prison planet Isidora. But there is a resistance. Small factions of Meridians, driven deep underground, still fight the Soulborg. The Blastotrons and their counterparts, the Gladiatrons, were built to mimic the size, movement, and guerrilla fighting style of the Meridian resistance. For the Meridians continue to adapt and survive against great odds. While that disgusts many Soulborgs, others envy those traits.
That I mean, you could tell reading the
really
first few
good
sentences that was going to get to the Matrix really quick.
No, there's, I mean, and that's the thing. Heroscape, to remember, Heroscape was a lot of references to pop culture. Right. So if you connect it to any movies, that's the point. That's For the sure. intention. I think, yeah, Craig Van Ness and the original dev team were really, really big fans of a lot of movies, and they definitely showed it with a lot of the characters they designed. So yeah, that's the intention. If you catch movie references, then you're like, oh yeah, that's from this and this. It's like, yep.
You can tell it's going to go bad really quickly.
Yep.
That's interesting. It's fascinating. Now, was any more added on to this lore, or is this basically what we have currently?
That is probably the most information we got about Meridian, or Meridian now Alpha Prime, because that's the thing. It's like we didn't even know it had a different name. Like we understood Alpha Prime because it was the name of the planet on the back of the cards, and then however, like this comes out on Wave 5, and they didn't really do so. For those I remember, Heroscape when it was like active, the bios didn't come out when the units came out. It was kind of like an update that would happen randomly. Like people would update the website whenever they got the chance. So the bios didn't come out till much later, right? But like Wave 5 was, I want to say, at least 2006, if not earlier. But I can't really source it at the moment. It's just from what I remember, it was definitely around that time frame. So we're talking about 2 years of like, okay, we have robots in Heroscape and we don't know anything about them. Like they were there. I mean, because they kept making we had plenty of Soulborg units at the time. It was like Deathwalker 9000, Deathwalker 8000, Deathwalker 7000 came out too. Like so, all the Deathwalkers came out, and then we had the Gladiatrons, and then we had the Major, right? Like we had all these characters come out, and there was just really no explanation for like where they came from or what they do. And then the Gladiatrons drop, and then the bio drops, and here we go. We have the answer, right? We know where the Soulborg come from. We know why they are the way they are. It's like, wow, this is impressive. This is very, very distinct to just the world building aspect of Heroscape. And like, yeah, every time someone has any question, I mean, I'll straightforward, like in Carmine asked me about the Soulborg at one point, and I just was like, nah man, read this bio. Like I was like, that's you don't really have to do anything else but read the Blastotron bio if you want to know more about the Soulborg specifically. Like that's their place, right?
More lore bios like this, please.
Yes. Like this was the good stuff. This is when people started getting really creative.
Yeah, nothing longer though. I don't want to read too much. I don't want to read too much. That's plenty. Simple.
It's concise, but it's really evocative. It's still kind of
it really is.
That you're like, you can kind of have some wiggle room. It's not like on this day, this time. It's like, okay,
I mean,
what's going on.
Right, exactly. There's a time jump of 3,000 years, so there's still so much to borrow. We don't know all the different events of the war between the Soulborg and the Meridian. And for reference, right, when I got to write the bio for the Meridian Resistance in CV3. So that character, the Meridian Resistance units, I borrowed information from this bio to write that bio. And I think it was Vidar. Vidar messaged, like he mentioned it to me at ScapeCon. He was like, hey, you were the one that wrote the Meridian bio, right? And I was like, yeah, that was me. And he's like, yeah, that inspired me to write my custom. So like it's so good that it continues to create characters to this day. Right, because like my domino effect came from this bio, and then my bio inspired other creators, and it's just like, yeah, no, that stuff's crazy. Like this is some of the good information that I really got. That really made Heroscape my place to be. was when I read stuff like this. So.
Yeah, the lore is really like, I think people sometimes will dismiss it like, oh, it doesn't affect how I play the game, but it really affects how much
it won't
care about
but it's fun.
The unit. It gets your idea. If you're a creative person, you want to know about that space that's not talked about. You want to develop your own stuff if it's never released, or it just makes you, make a good lore like this, not a bad one like Costumets.
Oh man, poor guy.
Yeah. Well,
he's supposed to be so cool.
I mean, well, for people who say that, I don't really care about lore, I always say is Warhammer 40K.
Right.
So
that's the biggest. Yeah.
Yep.
The biggest tabletop game in history right now has some of the deepest
exactly.
narrative. So it's like
crazy.
It's part of the brand.
Darkest too.
Oh yeah. Let's
see here. Justin's saying
I've scratched the surface.
Justin's commenting in the chat saying the Meridians are some of the few VC units that I have, but I'm interested to see if Renegade will officially fill in some of these gaps. Yeah, it'll be interesting
I hope they
to see
do.
what they do. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, okay, so if I may interject this point, it's like it's like you join a class, right? And someone's already done your homework. Like, why would you try to do your own homework if the homework's already done? You know what I mean? Like, there's so much they can do right now, and all it takes is just using what wasn't done. Like just using what was planned, using the talk that was back then in the day, just like quick review of what we were expecting back then, and do that.
Fill in those gaps.
Done. You know what I mean? Yeah, fill in those gaps. Done.
Take from the source material. That hard. Take from the source material.
Yeah, right. It's right there.
Yeah.
It's right there. It's like, please. You got this. I believe in you.
They should be listening.
But I mean, right now it's like,
yeah,
because they are right now using. I totally understand the premise they made is that everything that's going to be coming out is AOA stuff, and so that's like what 70-something characters.
Right.
After the fact, I promise you still have plenty of stuff to use.
Oh yeah.
There's so many things we've been looking forward to. You got this. Like,
there's time. There's
the
time.
homework's already done. Like,
there's time.
Yep.
All right. Well, anything else we want to say about Blastertrons before we move on to another squatter hero?
You can use Blastertron's homing device on other Blastertrons, so that's
yes. Yep. I mentioned earlier I won some games that way because I threw some Blastertrons as fodder units to act as homing device for me. So and all of a sudden I'm attacking with 5 per shot, and they were like. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, if anybody looking to get into Heroscape and you like these type of miniatures and you want to get them in your game, there are ways to get them and add a few of the what are they the Gladiatrons, like a squad or two, and there you are.
I will say Gladiatrons are harder to get, so I'd probably recommend
and more expensive
3D print until you're able to find them.
3D print, or
they definitely printed a lot less of those than
exactly.
the Blastertrons out there.
But good option to build your army, especially for tournament play. So that is the Blastertrons.
Yep.
All right. So now, so that is that. So okay, let's see what our time is for this. All right. So we're gonna do. I know I said rapid fire round, and that is basically as many as we can do in the amount of time we have. So we're gonna do the next.
Hey, Blastertrons was important. That was a big.
Oh no, it was.
That was a big.
It was huge. There's no doubt about that. I knew that was going to be the king. So we'll see how much we can do. We're going to do at least one more, and we'll see if we can do 2, but it'll probably just be one more. So let's see what is next in the list here. Wrong button. Hold on a second. So what we have next is Blue Wormling. So we did talk about Wormlings before already. And what was the last one that we were talking about? That was
Black Wormling was
the
last
black
one.
Right. So, well, let's just keep on going down the line then with this. So Blue Wormling is next. And see here, who wants to read this card? Josiah, would you like to do this? Would you like to do the honors to for this one?
You get that pulled up here. Go to someone else. I'm still getting this pulled up here on my end.
Okay.
I got it if you want me to.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
I got you. So powers we got is Blue Wormling from Aquila, and then we have the Fledgling Lightning Breath special attack. It's a range of 4 plus special attack 2. Okay. So it says choose a figure to attack. So this is important. The language of Heroescape is really important because whenever they do something like this, when it's just range 4 plus special, this is the kind of stuff you got to like hone into and like focus on. But it says choose a figure to attack. You may also choose one other figure within 3 clear sight spaces of the targeted figure to be affected by Fledgling Lightning Breath special attack. Roll attack dice once for both figures. Each figure rolls defense dice separately. Fledgling Lightning Breath does not affect destructible objects. So it's a special attack. It's an attack of 2, but it attacks 2 characters, and they don't have to be adjacent to each other. You can attack one, and then the other has to be within 3 clear side spaces of the other. So pretty neat opportunity here, and this does kind of blend in with its wormling bonding. So we spoke about this in the last episode about wormlings and how they're a pseudo army option based on the common hero aesthetic, where you want to have multiples of them. And because of the wormling bonding, it says after revealing an order marker on a blue wormling karma card before taking a turn, you may take a turn with one other wormling you control. So if you were doing like a combo of blue wormlings, right? So you would be able to take 2 attacks of Fledgling Lightning Breath special attack. That's 4 attacks of 2, depending on what you're going after. So it can be good
for 70 points.
70 points. This is where I say, and I'm probably jumping ahead. I apologize if I am, but yeah, the blue wormling is the least played wormling.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I haven't really seen Lightning Breath in action, and as far as I know, like I haven't really put into.
I don't even think I've seen this miniature anywhere. Is it a rare miniature?
The blue wormling came out. It's not, well, maybe it's in the sense of it's rare because the D&D miniatures are no longer in print.
Right.
So if you're trying to get a blue wormling, you all probably have to go through some third-party stores and whatnot. But I want to say, I'm trying to think of when it came out. That's the thing about tournaments, especially ScapeCons. Really, they mentioned this. If you're not able to get the Heroscape miniature because these characters are based off of D&D miniatures, if you have the D&D miniature, it still counts.
Yeah.
So like you don't have to have the Heroscape version. If you have the D&D version of this miniature, it still counts as a part of your army. So I've seen, because I saw some players use the D&D versions, and I was like, oh, hey, man, this is the exact same thing. It doesn't matter. So pretty cool. But yeah, I will say in terms of wormling army, if we're talking about wormling compositions, this is the least one to have. Like black and red team tends to be the best combo, or at least multiples of those versus blues. And I've never really seen blue in combat. So yeah, that's, and I would like, it's got this pretty solid attack for a common hero. I mean, attack of 4 is pretty menacing for 35 points, right? But it's like deciding between a normal attack and a lightning breath special attack, tier. Unless, right? I'm saying it's like when you drop from 4 to 2. Like, what's your math here, right? You're taking such a drop, but the only bonus is you drop to 2 for a chance to attack 2 separate characters 3 spaces from each other. So it's like it could work in certain specific occasions, but in terms of like if you're trying to like stomp the battlefield, you got a plan to like win the whole match, probably not your best bet. I think this is more like special scenario. Oh shoot, I can shoot over the wall, that kind of thing. It's like let me go get it now, that kind of thing. Like
castle sieges, I guess, could be useful.
Right, like special fun scenarios that aren't really like it's just I'm just gonna put it out there, guys. This is not. Right. I have not seen this unit anywhere in ScapeCon. So
not a primary.
It's a fun unit.
It's still a
cool
fun
unit.
It's still a fun one. I mean, and it's got attack of 4, which isn't bad, and defense of 3.
That's what I'm saying. With its normal attack, if you get a chance to normal attack, it's pretty great. And then defense of 3, that can last some hits. Not everything, but it's sturdier than a common squad character. So it'll last its own for a couple, I think. If you're lucky.
Right. Yeah, you would only use this one if line of sight is kind of like, and if you need to like shoot bank around corners and stuff like that. But that doesn't happen too much in tournament play. That'd be more for scenario play, or maybe with a lot more lore walls in play, it might see some more usage once AOA comes out. But
the illusion walls,
Yeah, so 1 life, move 5 spaces, of course with flying, range 1, attack 4, defense 3, 35 points. Yeah, I can see why you would say that the other dragons would be more desirable for tournament play, but it's still interesting.
I feel like when you're trying to achieve a certain goal, especially in tournament play, because tournament's really about outlasting your opponent and trying to find a good solid composition that can change based on circumstance. The blue wormling just doesn't really give you those options. Like it's so specialist, it's very unique in terms of what it can offer, that it's like I don't think it's helpful.
If you need to kill two VNOG Vipers and one of them is behind a wall and the other one can see it, the blue wormling's the one to pick. But,
that's what I'm saying. It's so the scenario in which this wormling becomes effective is so rare in terms of like the generic way of like, I mean, you're probably going to be let's be honest, right? You're probably looking to face an army of stingers, right? Like you're not going to bring blue wormlings to fight stingers. You're going to want to bring the red, things like that. So it's, in terms of like effectiveness, it's just not there, but it is a cool composition. And I think what was really cool about the blue wormling in general is that it was giving people a lot of hope of what Aquila's dragon would eventually be, because everyone at this point understood that each general has a dragon, right? At least at the point that Classic was active, every general had a dragon. They even wrote it in Thorman's journal. Ironar got his dragon. It was just a big theme of the game. So when the new general Aquila got introduced, they were like, "Oh my gosh, Aquila's going to get a dragon. I wonder which one they're going to do." And they dropped the wormlings.
Yep.
And we were like, "Blue." So yeah, that was we were expecting
we got a tease
and of some sort.
Maybe they'll still do something.
Yeah.
In the future, maybe.
Well, they did. I mean, there's Quahan, but Quahan
there's
was supposed to answer. Yeah, Quahan was supposed to answer the missing Aquila dragon.
Exactly.
That was expected of.
Exactly. And if you weren't going to mention it, I was going to. Yeah, basically, baby Quahan right here.
Baby Quahan. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Quahan is designed primarily with the blue wormling in mind because everyone saw the wormlings as like a reduced version of the original dragons. They were like, okay, so if Aquila was supposed to have lightning breath, let's figure out a bigger way to make it. And that's where Quahan came from. So, pretty cool design spec.
Very good custom mini. That Quahan is, and is played often in tournaments.
Designed specifically to match it. Yeah,
right, exactly.
Now what are you talking
about? For sure.
What? Did you say something, Joe? You say something, Joe? Did you want to show something, Joe? Because I know you got something. I think, right?
No, we good. No, Jill's want to get my attention, so I'll be right back.
Okay, all right, no problem. All right, anyway, but yeah, Quahan. I know Joe has one. But
I was thinking about getting one at ScapeCon, but that flag bearer definitely called out to me first before the custom Quahan card, because they were So the way it works, for those that don't know, if you go to ScapeCon, you win tournaments. So you get raffle tickets essentially, like points, right? You get points for joining games, you get points for winning games, you get points for it's points for playing, points for winning, points for attending. And you gather all these points after five days of matches, and then you can spend those points on various prizes. And a lot of the prizes are the custom units, where the people have printed those and donated them to ScapeCon, and they had a fully on base with card printed Quahan, and I was like, "Yo, that's what I want." And then I turned and I saw the Sir Gilbert in a box still, and I was like, "Nope," changed my mind immediately. I was like. So that's what I ended up going. I went for Gilbert after I decided, but I definitely was planning to get Quahan because I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's right there."
I'd choose a flag bearer over Quahan. I mean, to be perfectly honest. So yeah.
With box, mind you.
With box. In the box. New in the box. Yep. Absolutely.
Never been opened.
But
still with the Toys R Us stamp on it too. I was like, it was so crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, the nostalgia.
And so when it comes to, of course, the bonding, of course, it's just with other wormlings, basically. And just like we talked about with the black wormling last time. But yeah, when it comes to that, I mean, in conclusion, unless you guys have something else to say, that is basically the blue wormling in a nutshell. I mean, it seems like a fun mini, but not. I mean, I think that's pretty much all it is for casual play. If you want it for your collection,
into a tournament setting.
if you want it for your collection because aesthetically, you know, it looks fun. Just to be like, okay, got to catch them all, so I got this one. But yeah, definitely. I mean, interesting, but not necessarily for tournament play. But again, someone can try and prove us wrong. You know, I mean,
right. No, if someone gets a tournament win with the Blue Wordling, I would love to hear about it and how it happened, because that would be that's awesome. It's like it, you know, kind of off a tangent. It reminds me, I had a friend that used to play Smash tournaments all the time, and he would use Bowser, and Bowser wasn't even like a good character, but he would destroy you. Like he would absolutely annihilate you, and it was like, wait, this character isn't even good. How are you doing this? And it's just like because he's a good player. So like even if sometimes. Right? You could find out a way to take a character that's not as great and make it great. So,
absolutely.
Submissions.
So that
show me.
that is looking at Blue Wormling for your consideration into your Heroscape collection. All right.
Heck yeah.
Well, since that didn't take too long, I suppose we can do another one. So that way we can just say we did 3 for the night. So
heck yeah.
The next hero that we're looking at is Brandis Sky Hunter, and
yes,
fun archer.
Oh man,
I'll
read his card
if you want to read it. Josiah, go ahead.
So Brandis Sky Hunter, he has Sky Watcher. If Brandis Sky Hunter is attacking a non-adjacent figure that has a flying or stealth flying special power, add 2 dice to Brandis Sky Hunter's attack, as well as Archer's Glory. Each time Brandis Sky Hunter destroys an opponent's non-adjacent unique hero, you may take another turn with Brandis Sky Hunter.
Yep.
Pretty simple powers. He hates things that fly. It's his enemy.
Yes.
Yep. He is the Sky Hunter. Yep.
Yep.
Just in case.
Half elf, just to make sure you get no synergies there.
Right.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Brandis. Brandis is dope. I like Brandis.
Brandis is a good model. I like them. I like the model. I like the aesthetic, but definitely one of those other characters that you really don't see a lot of play in because of lack of bonding. Essentially, it's Brandis works on his own. Like, I mean, that's a whole turn you have to give up just for his ability. And in terms of like tournament play and wanting to maximize the amount of moves you can take in the game, yeah, Brandis is probably not the best option for that, because that's a full turn you have to give up for him alone, and it only works if you have a flying unit you want to take out really quick.
He's like a Raylan assassin, essentially.
Yeah, a Raylan assassin. So like, you know, maybe like how much is 90 points? Really expensive filler, but like someone that could help with very specific scenarios that involve flying. And I think it's important to note, especially with these characters, right? The design philosophy of Heroscape changed a little bit when it transferred over to Wizard of the Coast. They were looking for a way to blend the themes of Dungeons and Dragons with Heroscape at the time, because they wanted to both promote the game, you know, because the game was kind of on its back end. They were trying to figure out a way to keep it alive. Which game? Heroscape. You know. they were trying to keep Heroscape alive, and their plan was by merging it with D&D, which is a lot more popular, that it would get more people interested. And so they introduced a lot of campaigns that were designed like a dungeon, where you have a party of people that travel and all that stuff, versus your classic Heroscape match was just 2 armies facing each other that all have unique bonding that fight each other. And Brandis is a result of that design philosophy. If you look really close, you can tell he was meant for a dungeon party experience where it's like, oh, he's on his own, he's doing his thing, he's in he's on an adventure, whatever. He's part of the party of characters, but he's definitely not meant for an army of characters, because he's a whole turn to himself, and it's just that. There's a lot of things you could be doing other than activating Brandis Sky Hunter.
Really good against Phantom Knights, so it tells you kind of a strong Phantom Knight
definitely.
Play.
If you're trying to figure out ways to counter specific flying types of enemies, this is a good one. but
He'd be a good
lots of points.
clean up mini if you could afford it. Because
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly,
he
yeah.
can move. I mean, he's got 5 life, move 6 spaces, range 5 spaces, attack 3, defense 3, 90 points. So I mean, you could have him hang out in back while like your main army takes out, and then he can just pick off
Clean
whatever's
up,
left. Yeah,
yeah.
basically clean up.
Yeah.
Guy.
And there's ways to use them. There's ways to use them, but
Yep.
in like, it's just in the sense of like preparing for the optimal builds and stuff like that you want to. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend him.
Right.
Like,
right.
D&D characters work a lot better in drafting armies, where you like you all go around, you pick it, and you kind of can counterplay against
too.
people.
That
They don't
too.
work
When you're
in
not
like where things are preset.
Preset armies are not the
For
best
sure.
option for it. Exactly.
I'd like to take him up
That was a
against a
good point.
dragon, though. Any dragon, really. You
Yeah.
know.
Right.
Dragons.
And Justin's saying also Savaris exists.
Dragons, the
yes,
Kyrie.
Savaris does exist.
Yeah, and Savaris, yeah.
Let's see here. Justin's also saying half elf
Because
fits.
Savaris gets a double attack automatic, and
Right.
Brandis gets a
9
double.
range.
Yeah,
Right.
gets a double turn
Right.
if he causes someone to get
a
destroyed.
little
which
bit of an
requires-
if. Yep.
Yeah.
But no,
I
Justin's
mean,
also
you gotta
saying.
be like sure that kill is gonna come in.
Justin's also saying in the comments, half elf fits the D&D lore, but should have just been an elf for gameplay purposes. Great mini though. Yeah, it is. It is a nice looking mini.
I think the play testing involved somehow decided that making him an elf would have made him more powerful than he should have been.
Sure.
For what they were planning. And so I mean it's an interesting thought because of course being the wiki admin, I've had to deal with this before where people have changed Brandis's stats to elf, and I'm like, look guys, like I get what you're trying to say, but that's not how they published it. We have to stick to the OG stuff, and then we could probably put in the margins if you really have to. He should be an elf. Everyone is saying this. Like we've had this discussion. There's a lot of threads on the subject. I mean, it's out there. When he first came out, trust me, everyone had something to say about it. But somehow, at some point, that when they were designing him, they realized that by making him an elf, it would have made him overpowered. So they chose to make him half elf, and that's why it exists. Like it's a balance intent there. So maybe his effectiveness isn't from his bonding, but from the other stuff he offers, which is the two, bonus 2 to attack. So you're hitting with 5 whenever someone has wings, things like that, and that can be really effective against some armies that don't have good defense and things like. Or if you're fighting with some Sentinels of Jandar that can roll a bonus defense, you get a bonus 2 attack. Things like that. It's very specialized answers in terms of like counters, but like nothing I would be like, oh yeah, definitely take him to ScapeCon. I had no, I wouldn't take him to ScapeCon.
Well,
but he's cool
maybe for Heroscape Adventures, he'd be a good character.
Yes, yeah. Like for Heroscape Adventure,
Yep.
you could bring Brandis. Like that would be a cool option.
Yeah.
Take advantage of the Archer's Glory and stuff like that.
And
For sure.
Let's see here. When it comes to bonding, Aclara. That's basically it. Enough said. And let's see. Let's read the character bio. And let's. There's a little bit of character bio here. I can read it, and then Jeremy, if you want to expand on it as much as you can. Let's see here. It says Brandis is a half-elf summoned by Uller. He's adept at tracking those that use the trees to hide their advance. With his Skywatcher power, he adds 2 attack dice against flying figures, and with Archer's Glory, he takes a free turn every time he destroys a non-adjacent unique hero. So look out if your army focuses on flying figures, which is basically just talking about the stats. So,
that was pretty in depth.
Yeah,
that was real good compared to that.
Mind
to
blown.
Acitrons.
Mind blown.
He's good at hunting people in the trees, so he's good at fighting people that are in the air as well by proxy, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
So, anything else we would know about Brandis, Jeremy?
So yeah, it's just the general sense. Like a lot of the dungeons, all of the Dungeons and Dragons units didn't get introduced into the Heroscape world. We found out where they were from, we found out what they were referencing, and that was about it. So I've always told people, if you want to get more into that information, especially as for the lore enthusiasts out there. I recommend doing a quick dig through Dungeons and Dragons 4th edition. Okay,
Gotcha.
so because 4th edition was what was active when this came out, so the only lore they had at the time was the 4th edition sets, right? So like, because you might be tempted to go to 5th edition, and I know I am, but 5th edition didn't come out when Heroscape was out, so you got to like stick to the source material.
Gotcha.
And elves have always been a big, huge part of Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, that's like elves are just fantasy trope, so that's where it comes from. And it's like, since they say they're from Toril, there's an entire society of elves in Toril, and their interactions with mortals is what led to the half elves being introduced to society. And there's like it's really cool because I mean there's like a tons of like documents out there that kind of describe living a life where you're in between fae and human, and it's like you're both but neither kind of thing. It's like they don't really respect you as part of their culture, but at the same time you get to do what they do, like because you are elf as well as human. Like you're not like the way half elves work in the lore is that they're not one or the other, they're both in full just kind of mixed, like they get elf powers and they have human powers, but they both activate at the same time. So it's like it's really interesting concept to do. It's like anyone that plays a half elf has to work with a lot of themes of identity and like trying to fit your place in the world and things like that. And yeah, they have a whole bunch of stuff talking about that, but didn't add anything for Heroscape because
yeah,
I don't know.
I'll say that this figure doesn't get much play on my Heroscape games and on my D&D games. This figure is used constantly. He's used. He's my generic go-to elf, half elf ranger when someone picks it. So it's he sees a lot of play there.
Yeah, and Justin says the character bios went downhill fast with the D&D sets. Well, and Justin, that's why
they didn't make any of them.
I did Tales of Valhalla to give just our own like kind of Valhalla type of backstory to some of the D&D miniatures, aka one Karak the Elementalist was definitely one that I focused on, as well as like the elementals, given their own like Heroscape type of vibe of story, and others. So yeah, it's definitely something that, again, Renegade probably needs to look into in the future, just to give these miniatures that were introduced some identity. I don't know if
I've said it before, but in the scope of current events, if Renegade is able to do something that like Larian Studios was able to achieve with Baldur's Gate 3, I think that would be the best option for the D&D characters of Heroscape. Like pay the license, pay the price, get that Wizard of the Coast stamp on the characters, and just be like, all right, let's finish what never got finished. Drop a Lizard Folk hero, drop some Arachnid squads, something like that. Please. Kind of fill out the squads that we were teased at but we never got, and then just then go back to classic. I don't think you have to rely on the D&D portion of Heroscape to make it successful. Like you can rely on classic alone and it'll be successful on that alone. But finish off what we were like. I still want a Lizard Folk hero. I still want the Arachnid squads that were teased, things like that. Like that would be cool. So something that works with the Drow and not just there because they are spiders. Because I don't think the Firelag were supposed to work with the Drow. They don't, but they bond. They just don't really do bond well.
They were set up a Drider, I felt like, but
yeah, like there was hints that there was going to be some sort of spider enemy in the future, and we just never got it. So I want to see those, at least those. I would like Renegade to pave the road to get those out, and then move away from the D&D license into the classic Heroscape with the Solborg and the Kyrie and all that stuff. So at least that's what I'm looking forward to. So
yep. Well, and we'll end this like we unless there's something else you guys want to say, but we'll kind of end this the way we been ending some of these by saying, Renegade, you got your work cut out for you.
I mean, but and like I said, it's all there. Your homework's done for you, but there's plenty of stuff to reference.
Yep, they got stuff they gotta do. But for those of you who are looking for Brandis, I mean, I know I've won. I've gotten a few of these off of just like Goodwill auctions or such. I mean, it can be a little like financially a little pricey, but depending on where you're getting, I mean, you should be able to pick one up fairly easy if you want to bring them on as being, again, another fun miniature to grasp on to complete your collection.
Fun to paint too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
just because it is
Very
technically
nice
classic, so if you're looking to get all 13 waves, Brandis is a part of it. But
for sure. All right. Well, that is looking at Brandis Sky Hunter, and definitely. I know. There's people who just like looking at these squads and heroes segments, so you guarantee we'll be doing more in the future. All right. So with that, I will say that for our rapid fire rounds, we did 3 tonight. Count them, 3.
Yeah. Look at that. See, I can be short. I can talk less.
Yeah, better than 1. I know me and Joe. I mean, we're definitely going to work on this, which basically means me listening to Joe ahead of me about planning like podcasts, definitely for next year as well. To where we make more use of our time in less time, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's what we'll be planning on, things to where we might not be doing things like this, you know, in an episode. It might be just this, and that's it for things, which can be manageable. So that's definitely things that we're going to be talking about and doing in the future. Let's see here, Justin. I just want to catch up on these comments here. Justin says, when building my collection, I choose elementals over wormlings. I think I would too. I love Firestorm.
Yeah, no, elementals play so much better. Honestly, like the one, I want to say one design aesthetic informed the other, because I think because if I remember, the wormlings came out after the elementals, and they specifically cited the elementals as the prior common hero combo. And they're like, yeah, the wormlings are kind of like the elementals. But I'm like, nah, elementals are so much better. They play so much better.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're still good. But
I agree.
Yeah, I love that. I would definitely pick the elementals way before the dragons.
And Justin says, I also want a lizard folk hero. Yep. For
sure. I will say, there are 2 in VC.
Yep.
I will give VC the credit for putting the effort out there, specifically because we were supposed to get a lizard folk hero, and then it never came out. So VC is like, all right, we'll make our first one. We got Zogras hard scale.
Yep.
And then they recently introduced the new one, which is the space one from the Dire Station, which I thought was really cool. Like that blew my mind. A space version of the lizard folk hero was not what it's like perfect for Heroscape, but not what I expected. So I was really proud of that design. I think the idea of it's really cool. So Maycore is his name, right? Yeah.
All right, and we're gonna wrap up soon. I'm just gonna read a couple comments from the last podcast that we had. So I'm gonna bring them up here, and I'm trying to go through these a little bit quickly. But okay, so we have first comment, and this was about the blade gruts. But Mark Campbell is commenting and says, I really enjoyed this. I just received more blade and arrow gruts. I certainly need more. I think you can never not have enough blade and arrow gruts. Just like an orcs, another fantastic army to build. And then let's see, we got Demon Hunter Pillar. I don't know who this person is, but let's just read his comment. That makes so much sense. And this is talking about the last Thorman's journal entry I read. This makes so much sense.
My B movie example. See,
yeah, about the Kyrie.
I told you
only be able to fly short distances comparable to human sprinting. Granted, this doesn't answer it for the ghost or vampires, but who's counting? Exactly. Not yet.
Ghosts are vampires from the vampires are from a different planet. We don't know how the biology works there.
They're dead. They're
dead. And see, and they're dead. So they don't even have to follow the rules anymore.
Something we might just do some type of Easter egg in future Tales of Valhalla seasons. Because I'll say this:
how'd you get over there?
The next seasonal story arc will feature the undead for certain. So, yeah.
Heyo.
Probably have to explore that. And then let's see.
It just starts off with how vampires shouldn't be flying based on the size of their wings and
anatomically,
Right.
it doesn't make sense.
No, see, if you quote that exact line, like that would be perfect because that's from the B movie. So it's just
like the beginning of the vampire quote unquote possible season. Like that's how it starts. Like would be top tier. Top tier.
the first line of the B movie, but we replaced B with vampire.
It's gonna be a lot of work, but a lot of fun writing those scripts. A lot of fun writing those scripts.
Yeah, that'd be great. Write
okay.
that down.
Okay, Kaitsuki says also, your conversation about the disengaged ability made me think of Step Brothers. So much room for activities in quotation. Now, I haven't seen Step Brothers, so
I saw. I know exactly what
okay.
they're talking about.
Okay, good.
That's funny. That's a good.
I wanted to read it.
That's
anyway.
a good reference.
So
yeah,
and then also
that's so funny.
Also, Kaitsuki also says when we talked about One Piece. I'm sorry, my voice. My goodness. I think all but the most hardcore anime folk are going to understand you not diving into the One Piece anime. It's a known issue that it's too long. Yes. And then Kaitsuki also says, watch the honest trailer take on it. They say the live action show only covers the part of the anime before anything happens. Well, yes, I mean, and I've seen enough of the One Piece anime to know that the live action one, yes, only covers a certain part. But I mean that there's a reason for that. But what they do cover in that slot of what's supposed to be the anime, they do really well. They really just cut the fat of what is in the anime and still give you the story, and actually a little bit more than I think of what's actually shown in later on in the anime. Because there's some things that I found out in the live action, I'm like, I don't even know yet, and I'm like really deep into watching the anime. I'm like seasons and seasons into it. So I still think I out of all the things I've watched this year, heck, in the last 5 years, season 1 of live action One Piece, I'd say has been the best thing I've watched in at least 5 years. It's just nice. It's so fun. It's so fun. It's so good. When it makes you cry, you know, as a nerd, as a guy, you know, a couple times, and it just hits you. Anyway, thank you, Kaitsuki, for those comments, and thank you everybody who gave the comments for the last podcast time. How about we wrap things up, guys? Okay, final thoughts, plug away for things. Of course, link subscription below on YouTube. Jeremy, go ahead. You go first.
All right. So really cool report on ScapeCon East. Glad to hear that went well. I was curious because I know at ScapeCon they were talking about ScapeCon East, and it's just, I think in general, just the growth of large events like as they are happening right now it's just nice to see the progress, seeing people attend it, seeing people enjoy themselves, and then just talk about it, because it's like I mean, I still remember when, you know, Ryan, like, I'm gonna be honest, right, just straight on, Ryan dragged me to the first ScapeCon, right? Like, it was like he's like, you should go to this thing, you should go to this thing, and I had little context because, you know, I wasn't really involved with the community at the time as I am now, right? But like, oh my gosh, that was one of the best weeks of my year, right? Just being able to play the game as much as I was able to, find people that played the game as much as I was able to, and just kind of, you know, vibe over our favorite game. And of course, this was all before they announced that it was coming back, so, you know, that was huge
just
energy,
like a month or
right?
two before. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a great game, I miss it. And then literally a week later, oh my gosh, it's coming back, you know. So it's cool because that was ScapeCon 2, and now we're at ScapeCon 3 that now has both ScapeCon 3 and ScapeCon East. So it's like there are multiple opportunities for you to come and check out these events, and if you have the time and the money to do so, highly recommend it that you check these out. So really cool report from your end, JoeCrazy, for being able to check that out. I know a lot of people were asking about you at ScapeCon, and I was telling them that you were going to ScapeCon East. So I think that was cool. they're looking, like, where's JoeCrazy? And it's like, oh, he's at the other one. He's like, it's just, we're all spreading out to our local areas. So I think that's pretty cool. And yeah, being able to run your Heroscape adventure, I thought that was really cool too. Being able to promote that. So heck yeah, glad to hear it went well. So, and yeah, just I always enjoy Heroscape lore. You know that. That's my primary purpose. That's why I'm here. But yeah, so it's always nice. But when I was going over the script when it was posted earlier, and I saw Blastotrons, I was stoked. I was like, yep, this is gonna be a good one. Like Blastotrons is peaked. Like in terms of Heroscape fiction, it was definitely one of the best options that was provided during the length of its existence. And to this day, obviously, yeah, like, I mean, it informed the design behind my writing for the M43 units. And then from what I've heard, anybody that's designed anything after the fact has, in fact, referenced my own bio that I created off of the Blastotrons bio. So it's just really, really cool, like, chain of events that has inspired the design of Solborg moving forward. And so for those out there that are curious about it, read you some Blastotrons and play them because they're super fun. Other than that, I don't really have, like, so still in the same thing. I've been working on this commission. I got commissioned by a VTuber to create a lore backstory for her character, essentially brand identity and plus lore. So it's a really interesting development of my tools, because not only am I doing research and writing, but I'm making sure it sounds good, so it's going to be used as part of the channel itself. So I'm like, oh shoot, okay, I got to make sure my stuff makes sense. And I've been writing that out, doing research for that. So I've been kind of AFK. I post when I can. I've retweeted when I can, things like that. But I haven't made anything of my own in a couple weeks as a result. So as soon as that finishes, I'll be back on Twitch. I'll be posting my stuff. We got a couple plans for the holidays coming up, and of course Super Mario RPG. I got my hands on that, so of course I'm going to have to cover it, because that we want to talk about nostalgia.
Talk about classical.
That is a game. That is a game of mine. That is the game of my childhood.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited to play the modern version of it, and I want to check it out. So yeah, that's all I got on my end. And if you have any questions about lore, check me out on Twitter. Look me up, Essalon Collate. You can ask me here, Discord, on the channel, on the podcast, after the podcast, on the YouTube, wherever you feel like. And I yield my time to the next fantastic gentleman.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. And by the way, that ScapeCon, me dragging you, that was, I considered an investment, not just investment into building yourself as a person.
I enjoyed it.
But investing into
it got me out of my slump too.
Exactly, investing into making a friend. Yeah. So yeah, no, it was
Thank you, man.
It was time and money well spent. All right, Joe, go ahead.
All right, yeah. So yeah, I'm not gonna just rehash everything I had just said earlier, because I already took up too much time about that. Obviously, classic units. They're great. They're great. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm going to use this time to just talk about, a little bit of my progress of coming back to doing YouTube content. Obviously, Thanksgiving is next week. So I'll be down visiting family.
It's this week.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, this week, yeah. This week. So yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And I know I have some other holiday events coming up the following weekend as well. So my weeks are getting shorter somehow, and the weekends are getting longer, when it was the opposite before my 3-job situation. So I'm hoping to get at least one video out by the end of the year. Maybe 2. But once the new year hits, it's back to it. So I'm really looking forward to it. And even tonight, like, I wrote down like 2 or 3 more ideas. Not that I needed any more, but I have, like I said, if anyone's wondering, here's a stack of just some of the stack of ideas I have. Tons are here. There's at least 30 or 40 here that are just straight video ideas. So don't worry, I will be back making content. And I probably will say that battle videos won't be the main focus for next year. You know, I do want to run a new tournament with my friends and have a trilogy of the Schweppes Cup, Utz Cup, and the new Cup, and end the Cup franchise, and maybe move on to something else.
Nice.
But yeah, so but yeah, I want to do like more like, let's talk about Scape, let's expand Scape, let's talk about things that are adjacent to Scape. Like, I want to do more like talking, discussing videos, and get like information out to people. There's only so much you can learn from the game by playing the game, but I want to expand that. There's a lot of other scapers making content of battle videos, and of course you got Josiah doing painting, and there's other people coming into the ranks. So I want to bring something new to the table as well. So that's going to be my main focus for 2024, is for that. So, you know, scheduling of videos might turn a bit differently because I have to do more research for videos. But yeah, I'm hoping to get at least, let's say, 1 or 2 by the end of the year. But I want to push the Discord, come out to my Discord channel. You know, you can always reach me on Discord. I'm on it constantly. I want to talk about, if you have Heroscape adventure ideas, I'm listening. You know, if you want to talk about it a bit more in depth, I'm here. Let's talk about it. So anything you guys want to talk about, Heroscape related, even video game related, or movie related, I'll be here on my Discord, JoeCrazy3193, which is, of course, my Instagram, my YouTube, and Facebook. Anywhere you can find me, reach out to me, please. I am a joy to be around, as if that was not apparent already.
He's got the personality of New York
also mind shackled.
So
vote for the Hive. Vote for JoeCrazy.
Yeah. That's why he's a people person, because
yeah,
gotta be for propaganda.
I have to be. I have to.
He's a people eating person.
Expand. I gotta expand the JoeCrazy hive mind. Yeah. So, but yeah, no. Thank you again to Ryan and everybody else on the panel for being on here. This is always an awesome show. I love doing it with you guys.
42 episodes. Woo.
42.
What?
42 episodes.
We're at 42 episodes.
Yeah.
42?
Yeah.
And close to 50. That's nice.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah. Who knows what we're gonna do?
We'll have to do something special. For
given the timing, that might end up being like, depending on when Renegade does their next Renegade Con, that might be a Renegade Con.
Oh,
we'll see.
Ooh.
We'll see. We'll see. It's gonna be close. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. That'll be fun.
But don't forget, I am not crazy. I'm JoeCrazy. I yield my time.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Okay, Josiah, go ahead.
And yeah, pretty much the Blastotrons always been kind of just so rich, full of stuff. I've always loved them. Kind of same as Jeremy. I actually made a whole video just all the other index videos I made were pretty fast and just kind of showcasing. But this one I was like, I need to talk about these guys because they can do some crazy stuff. And the D&D units are great. They kind of what got me into playing D&D, because I was always just like, what do these powers mean? What do they kind of brought me down a rabbit hole? So that's So now I'm.
That was the design intention. Definitely was to get you into D&D. So
I was like, what is a ranger? Let me figure this out. And now I'm source book steep in that game as well. So yeah, but I'm the Roguescaper. It's great always just I'm living the dream being on this podcast and talking Scape. It's always a pleasure. And I just released a video on how to paint a NGC character, the Clatzencoal. That one had some fun effects and some things I did with that.
Oh, and congrats on getting the front page of Heroscapers.
Yeah. So
I saw that
we've
today.
been on the front page of Heroscapers. Those are the kind of the pictures. I'm kind of the painter and the photographer, the video guy for NGC. Cool. So all those pictures are kind of taken by me I try to make them a bit cinematic and kind of cool looking. Taking some pages out of Ryan's book there. So that's kind of how I ended up here. But yes, it's yes, I have a job change, so I should have a lot more free time to make more content. This week I'm going to try to paint a Turkey Hydra custom piece for Heroscape if I got the time.
Nice.
Lined up
I
for
think
that.
I know exactly what model you're talking about. I've seen that around.
Gobble.
And I don't really know. I got some other things cooking. I'm kind of just I'm a procrastinator on my best days, so I'm seeing what the community wants. If you need something that you're like, how do I paint a Blastertron? I will grumble and get that painted for you. Or if you have any questions on 3D printing or painting, or really just kind of any of more of the filmmaker artistic side of Heroscape or board games, definitely let me know. I'm a Rogue Idealist on the Discords, or you can message me on the YouTube or really anywhere else. And yeah, looking forward to the new year of Escape next year. So it's almost here.
On 20th year Escape, the year Escape.
Yep. I yield my time.
All right, thank you, sir. And yeah, one thing I said, I released a video just last week. It's just like less than 2 minutes. Basically, my response to around this time last year when the crowdfunding campaign ended, and I gave a statement on my live stream. Not many people probably watched it, but now that's almost 100 views on that video, so that's kind of cool. Right. Basically, and one of the things I write in the text too is that, Renegade, is saying 2024 is going to be the year of Heroscape, and I say, how about we actually make the next decade, make it the next 10 years, the decade of Heroscape.
Give it the 10 years it never had.
Exactly. And further, and in the future too, as well, beyond that as well. So, and Justin says, next year is going to be so much fun in the world of Heroscape. Yeah. And so maybe in winding down this year, we got 2 more podcasts to do. One December 7th, I believe. That's probably going to be, we're going to be talking to the guys from Source again, talking about their crowdfunding campaign win, because it already is a win. And then December 17th, I believe, we're going to have some fun. It's going to be the last podcast of the year, and we are going to have memes till midnight. So we're going to dive into the Heroscape memes and have some fun doing that. So looking forward to doing that. And then as well, you can find me, of course, I'm Ryan, Tales of Valhalla. And you can find my YouTube channel, which is also the same, Tales of Valhalla. My Twitch, Conductor Productions. And find me there. Hours and hours of content, especially stop motion content, which is stop motion adventure content based off the board game Heroscape. Got 3 seasons there, as well as behind the scenes editing stuff of that series, and additional like live stream stuff that I'm doing now when it comes to, I'm learning how to paint. I'm playing skirmishes because I gotta get my Heroscape game up, because I'm matching these guys, I'm falling way behind in that, so I gotta start playing a little bit. But this Wednesday, usually I live stream Wednesday and Sunday nights. But this Wednesday, I am going to take a Thanksgiving break, so no live stream tonight. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Next Sunday, we'll do something Heroscape related for sure. I know, like last week, I was actually playing Ace Combat because I got a thing with flight sims. I love, I love getting in the pilot seat and shooting down some MiGs. So I was having some fun with that last Wednesday.
Good series.
Yeah. No, it's fun. It's fun. So, but definitely next Sunday we'll be doing something Heroscape related, be it painting, skirmishes, whatever. We're going to do something. So with that, I thank everybody for watching, everybody for listening out there in the audio sphere. The year's almost done, but it's not over yet, and we got lots to look forward to coming 2024. You have a purpose in your life. Find it, pursue it, live it. We'll see you guys next time. Later, y'all.
See ya.
Bye.